Hey, what's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm joined by somebody I'm incredibly excited to speak with. Coming off a phenomenal victory over Ikram Aliskerov this past weekend at UFC Saudi Arabia, he joins us today. He is one of the greatest fighters to ever come out of the country of Australia. He is the former middleweight champion of the UFC. He is the Reaper. He is Bobby Knuckles. He is the one and only Mr. Robert Whittaker. And Rob, thank you so much for your time, brother. An absolute privilege to speak with you. How are you feeling?
Very good, mate. Very good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, Rob, looking at the fight with Ikram, obviously you've spoken a lot about that fight, just, the circumstances that have happened with it. But one thing I want to commend you on in that fight is just your IQ. I feel like in terms of being a fighting mind, Robert Whittaker does not get enough credit for the IQ that you possess in that octagon and your ability to make reads, even talking about just, in that octagon, having a flash to Khamzat's fight against Ikram. Talk to me just a little bit, I should say, about just being able to make those reads so early on and being able to just have one of those IQs that everyone in the fighting world talks about.
Yeah, I mentioned that I was going to lean heavily on my experience, and you'd hope. I've always had good instincts, inside the octagon, but I feel, as my career goes on and I accrue more and more experience under my belt. I'm more switched on and zoned in than ever before in there.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you talked about during the fight with Paulo Costa, after the fact, just about fight fans and how they can be fickle. And I know you've had your fair share of fight fans, generally more positive experiences, but you have had the fair few bit of haters that have kind of come through, said comments here and there. I want to ask you, just in terms of seeing the kind of outpour of support for you, does it make you kind of like think a little bit about the space and where it stands, or is it just something that for you, when you look at the space and the fans within it right now, you just kind of go and focus on what's in front of you?
No, I'm very thankful for the fans and the space that that they hold. It's like without them, I wouldn't have anywhere near as much traction and as much influence in the UFC and in the game that I do now.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
as well as like they just fuel me to, they're kind of like a soundboard for everything that I'm doing. So to receive the feedback that I've gotten and whatnot, it's great. I just think sometimes they can be fickle, like it's a cruel mistress, but just about every sport has it, you know.
No, yeah, definitely. And in terms of the matchup, of course, spoken a lot about Hamza, and I'm pretty sure you're sick and tired of hearing Hamza at this point. But I know for you, when you talk about that fight and possibly just the hurdles that came to even getting it made in the first place, I wanted to ask you if that fight was ever in consideration for the Anaheim card that you fought on. Was that ever in discussions, or was it just, after the fact, Paulo, that's when Hamza's name came up?
It was after the fact, so a couple of weeks after Costa, I was just approached like Chimaev, Saudi Arabia, and yeah, rest is history.
Definitely. And I know for you, Rob, just throughout, this, I think overall, just the past few years or so, we've seen you really get a lot of admiration for fans for your resilience. When you talk about Robert Whittaker, the term resilience is one of the biggest terms that comes up. Every time you fall down or succumb to a loss in the octagon, we've seen you come back and step back twice as hard. And, when you look at the first fight against Izzy, you went on a 3-fight winning streak after that, and then the second fight, you defeated Marvin Vettori right after, and then Dricus, you got 2 amazing wins back-to-back. Talk to me a little bit about just the mindset and having such a strong willpower to be able to go in there and not be deterred by whatever happens in the octagon, being able to get the result that you want at the end of the day.
Yeah, I do believe that like you take more from a loss than a win, and every loss that I've taken has given me a moment to look inside myself and to just reinvent myself and to put the pieces back together and to build off a loss and just to come back better than ever, and I guess a big part of how I conduct myself is how I want to be seen by my kids, what I want my kids to see, and I want to show them how it's done. I want to show them how it is to get back on the horse, how it is to never give up, to build yourself back up, that you can take a loss, that you can take a knock, and you can come back better than ever.
No, yeah, definitely. And I know for you, just the motivation that you get from your kids and your wife, Sophia, and just, how much of an important staple they've been in your life and in your career. Talk to me just a little bit about, having the support from her, and also just like you mentioned, being able to set a strong example for your kids, and, continuing to push and show them all of these lessons through the fight game. And I know you even spoke in another interview about just being able to take them to their first UFC event and having them in that environment, seeing what their dad does on a day-to-day basis in the octagon.
Yeah, I feel like my kids are at an age where they can they're truly starting to appreciate what I do for a living. It's gotten to a point where they, I'm no longer doing a make believe job. You know what I mean? They actually know what I do, so they're at a good age to take them to a UFC event. And if I'm going to be able to sit side by side them and just show them the lights, the noise, I'm really excited to do that. In terms of the support of my family, I wouldn't be doing what I do without Sophia. She has been such a key instrument in just guiding me through the early stages of my career and supporting me through the harder parts, up until today. She really has been such a key part of that. And my family is, they're my drive. They're my reason why.
Absolutely. And we see, that drive in the octagon and just being able to net so many amazing results back to back. I know for you, when we talk about Robert Whittaker, the option is always there, whether it's Izzy, whether it's Dricus, whoever it is. And when we actually spoke to Dricus, he talked about, should Robert Whittaker come out of this fight, potentially a fight with you and Sean Strickland. And I know there was a lot of feedback on our end, just a lot of people not happy with Du Plessis saying that. What do you make of that when you hear the champion saying maybe you haven't done enough, or that he wants to see you fight someone else before getting back in there with them? Granted, you guys met the first time at UFC 290.
I don't care. I don't really bother with the other middleweights and what they say and what they do. Like it's not even on my radar. I'm here running my own show, doing my own thing, and mate, winning opens doors. Win enough fights, you won't have a choice. So I'm going to stick with my guns and do what I'm doing.
No, yeah, definitely. And when you talk about keeping options open, I know in the past you've spoken about the aspirations of potentially even fighting up at light heavyweight down the line. And I know this week there's a staple UFC event, a rematch for the ages between Alex Poatan and Yuri Prohaska. I got to ask you, just in terms of that fight, what would the prospect of even moving up to light heavyweight in the future bring for Robert Whittaker in terms of excitement?
Yeah, no, that's probably not going to happen anymore. It's I make middleweight well, and I'm a good middleweight. I perform well at middleweight. I think if I were to actually make the move up to light heavy, I'd be a little sluggish. I'd be a little slow. I don't think I want to be that heavy. So I'm pretty good where I am now.
No, yeah, definitely. And, when you talk about, just keeping the options open, like you said, taking it a fight at a time, I feel like every middleweight at this point is calling out Robert Whittaker, yet you seem so unbothered and just focused on the task at hand. Talk to me about almost the sense of flattery when you look at your resume and your body of work from 170 to now, and especially at middleweight, your crowning accomplishments. What does it mean for you to see these fighters still young and hungry, looking to get a fight with the Reaper? How does that inspire you and motivate you to keep pushing forward?
Yeah, I don't think about it too much, to be honest. Like I said, I'm running my own show here. I'm running my own story. None of that bothers me. I talk to the UFC. I give them a date. They'll give me a name, and then we're fighting. There's no real need to do anything else. I have a way of working, and it's worked for me so far. So I don't intend to change that.
Absolutely. And, I would be remiss if I didn't ask Robert Whittaker while we have him on about video games and just about media as a whole. For me, I think one of my favorite fighters when it comes to having an insane taste in video games, whether it's, Bethesda softwares, Fallout or Skyrim. And I know you've been combating jet lag in the 5 days you've been back. I got to ask Bobby Knuckles himself, have you been gaming anything different? I know you've got elite taste playing Monster Hunter World while in Saudi Arabia, and then talking about even on the MMA arcade, Dragon's Dogma potentially, the next game. Talk to me a little bit just about what's Bobby Knuckles up to in the time away from the cage when he's not training. What's the day-to-day look like?
So between the media, I've been trying to fit in some Dragon's Dogma too. It's started a new game with that. It's been fun, just a sword and board dude going around and getting thrown around. It's been a hoot, dude. But But realistically, I look to take my family away soon. I don't really take video games away with me when I go out with the family. Just we can work it out when we're away. It's holiday, work it out.
Absolutely.
But I intend to do that, so I'm going to have fun with that. But I'm enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2 at the moment. Like I am. That's the game of the week so far, and yeah.
Absolutely. And I got to ask you, because I know you also brought up Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. I was wondering if you're going to be getting on that anytime soon. And I know you talked about the difficulty. Is that something that's on the radar of Bobby Knuckles?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's not right now. Like I've been itching to do a new run with Elden Ring, but not right now. I want to do Dragon's Dogma 2 right now. That's what I'm vibing, and it's good to know that I have like the DLC and a full playthrough of Elden Ring available when once I've wrapped things up here.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I gotta ask you, because I feel like when it comes to, like I said, game taste, very few fighters can rival the taste and selection that Robert Whittaker has in terms of video games. And on top of that, having a community that's so down with you and what you do, especially even the overwhelming support in finding out on Skyrim that they had a built-in mod that you were in the game itself. I gotta ask you, when you have a community like the Whittaker family and, the Bobby Knuckles community, how much does it mean to you to see how down the fans are with you, whether it's your taste in games, art, television, even anime, from all different levels of media? What does it mean for you to just have that different medium to kind of share with them?
Yeah, it means the world to me. Like I said, my fan base is special. Like I think it's the best fan base in the world of all the athletes. So I'm very lucky like that, because not only do they support me, which it means everything to me, but they have great taste. They have great taste, and to have such a fan base with great taste is just the cherry on top, mate.
Absolutely. And Rob, I want to thank you so much for the time and for the quick opportunity to chat. And I want to end it on one final note. I know for you, a fighter that a lot of, young fighters and young up and comers model their game after, but I want to play a quick game with you and see, where, if you had to build a fighter, let's say not
Mhm.
Bobby Knuckles, but off of any fighter in MMA history with, IQ, striking, grappling, and cardio, what will your selections be for each category?
Mate, John Jones for all of them. Dude's got everything. Like that's why he's considered the GOAT, because he can do it all. He can do it all. I don't think you could hand stitch a better fighter. Like if you tried to hand stitch a fighter to beat John Jones, who? How? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And, Rob, I want to thank you so much for your time, for the quick chat and quick opportunity, and just for your time. And to the fans at home watching, it's been me, Dan from FightWave. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the interview. Do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys.